This is Tom Foley speaking. The powerful Detroit Red Wings dominated the regular 70-game schedule of the National Hockey League in 1952 and finished far in front for the fourth straight year with a strong combination of experience and youth. The Montreal Canadiens, in the midst of a rebuilding campaign, came with a rush to finish second, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, defending the Stanley Cup they had won 4 times in the 5 previous seasons, finished third. The Boston Bruins, stressing a youth movement, finished in the 4th playoff position, ahead of the New York Rangers and Chicago Blackhawks. In the semifinals of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Detroit Red Wings met their arch rivals, the Toronto Maple Leafs, in a best-of-7 series, while the Montreal Canadiens took on the 4th-place Boston Bruins. The Detroit-Toronto meeting was expected to produce a typical hard-fought series, but smarting under the sting of Toronto victories in previous playoffs, the Red Wings threw the book at the Leafs and beat them decisively in 4 straight games. Terry Sawchuk, the Wings goalie, permitted only 3 goals against him in 4 games, and rookie Johnny Wilson was the scoring star with 4 goals. On the other hand, the Montreal Canadiens were expected to encounter little difficulty in shunting the Boston Bruins to the sidelines. Boston came back from 2 straight defeats to knock off the Flying Frenchmen in 3 straight games, and were leading 2-1 in what could have been the decisive game, but a goal by Maurice Richard tied the score, and rookie Paul Masnick's overtime goal squared the series and sent it back to Montreal for the 7th game. 3 minutes from the end of the game, hockey's rocket Maurice Richard scored one of the greatest goals of his spectacular career, and the Montreal Canadiens entered the Stanley Cup Finals against the Detroit Red Wings. As the Stanley Cup Finals opened in the historic Montreal Forum, Detroit's top defensemen Red Kelly and Leo Reese were on the shelf, and Canadiens were weak at center ice with Ken Mosdell and Johnny McCormick recovering from fractured limbs, and Dick Gamble nursing an attack of the flu. Referee Bill Chadwick faces off between Paul Masnick of the Canadiens and Detroit's Sid Abel, with Detroit wearing the dark sweaters with white numbers and Canadiens wearing the white sweaters. Tommy Johnson of Canadiens, wearing number 10, drives a shot wide of the net. Johnson, Bert Olmsted, and Floyd Curry of Canadiens drive in for the rebound, but Sawchuk smothers the puck. The tough Detroit defenders hold off Canadiens. Early in the second period, Detroit scores. Scrappy Tony Leswick, number 8, fires the puck under the arm of goaltender Jerry McNeil, who was lying on the ice. Detroit's great all-star left winger Ted Lindsay gets a rough ride from the Canadiens' all-star defenseman Doug Harvey. Harvey shows why he was named to the National League's all-star team, and his ice generalship is a real highlight as he blocks Detroit pass-outs. Lindsay and spunky Paul Meagher of Canadiens tangle in the corner, and Lindsay takes a penalty. Number 9 is Canadiens' Maurice Richard, passing to Elmer Locke, then over to Dickie Moore, but the shot is wide. Big Eddie Mazer, number 22, sweeps down the right boards and centers out perfectly to Paul Masnick, but the pass out is missed. Still leading 1-0 in the third period, Detroit's Marcel Pronovo misses the corner with a slide shot. And on a brilliantly executed pass out from the backboard, Pronovo is off the corner again. Sid Abel, number 12, feeds a perfect pass to Gordie Howe, who is righty and has McNeil at his mercy, but even the best miss at time. Maurice Richard and Glenn Scove carry each other into the boards, and the hard collision brings tempers to a boil. They are pried apart by linesmen George Hayes and Billy Morrison, and each receives a minor penalty. Doug Harvey leads an attack against the Detroit fence of White and Goldham. And the payoff is a goal. Tommy Johnson, number 10, drives home Olmsted's pass from the corner. That makes it 2-1 for Detroit with 9 minutes to play. The pass to Tony Leswick is intercepted by Maurice Richard, and the rocket is underway. He shoots, swoops in for the rebound, but Sawchuk holds onto the puck. Strong defensive play, especially in the playoffs, has always been a trademark of the Detroit Red Wings. Here the Wings' wearing down tactics are graphically demonstrated. Boom Boom Joffrey on number 5 gets set for his famous shot. Sawchuk stops it, and Bob Golden recovers the rebound. In the last minute of play, Canadiens remove their goaltender. An off Sid Abel's pass. Ted Lindsay scores into the empty goal, making the score 3-1 for Detroit. It's discovered that there is still another minute and 16 seconds to play. So a crestfallen Jerry McNeil goes back into the net. Elmer Locke, number 16, leads at last-ditch Canadiens attack, but Detroit fight them off and win the first game 3-1.
With inspired technology and leases from $179 a month, the redesigned Nissan Sentra is easily the best part of your day.
Come on, people! Make some
The Moore's year-end sale is our biggest sale of the year. You'll find designer sport coats, designer dress pants, and designer dress shirts. Buy one, get one free. Moore's, well made, well priced, well dressed.
Hey, man, glad you came. Make you Caesar?
It's okay. I brought some.
Expertly pre-mixed, the Mott's Clamato Caesar. When you see one, you want one.
With inspired technology and leases from $179 a month, the redesigned Nissan Sentra is easily the best part of your day.
With George Gravel refereeing, the second game begins in the Montreal Forum. Canadiens are wearing their white home ice uniforms, and the Red Wings are in dark sweaters. Detroit's production line, Sid Abel, number 12, Ted Lindsay, number 7, and Gordie Howe, number 9, dominates the play. It's a wild and woolly first period. No less than 10 minor penalties are called. Ted Lindsay starts from behind his own goal and streaks up right wing. But Doug Harvey knocks him out of the play. On a Detroit power play, Vic Stasiak rifles in a shot from right wing, but Jerry McNeil makes a fine save. Now Detroit's potent Gordie Howe, number 9, gets away a pass to Mistro Priestai. And Priestai in turn relays the puck to Alec Del Vecchio, number 15, a dangerous scoring chance, but Jerry McNeil turns it aside. Big Dollard Saint Laurent breaks away from his own blue line. But the Canadian shot is deflected wide, and Jeffrey On is hurt on the play. Elmer Locke sets up Doug Harvey, but the great Kerry Sawchuk is right on the job. Detroit defenseman Benny White passes to Sid Abel, number 12, and Abel's wicked shot bounces off McNeil's shoulder. McNeil stops another shot by Marty Pavelich as Detroit forces the pace. Near the close of the first period, Tony Leswick passes out to Marty Pavelich, who scores, and the Red Wings have that all-important first goal. There are 2.5 minutes to play in the period. The puck changes hands rapidly, and finally Tony Leswick intercepts a pass by Elmer Locke. And then Leswick slashes at Bud McPherson. It's a minor penalty for Leswick, and the Canadiens have the man advantage for 2 minutes. And now a face-off inside the Detroit zone. Elmer Locke gets the draw. The puck rolls back to Geoffrion, whose shot deflects to Doug Harvey on the far boards. Ted Lindsay tries to clear out from the corner. Geoffrion blocks it, winds up, shoots, and the bullet shot is tipped into the net by Elmer Locke. The score is tied 1-1. Canadiens almost do it again as Harvey drives down the middle of the ice. Geoffrion takes his pass, drills it at Sawchuk, who pulls a great save as the period comes to the end. It takes the Red Wings only 43 seconds to score the goal that wins the game in the second period. Doug Harvey is in the penalty box. The Red Wings pour on the heat. They storm around the Canadiens' net. Gordie Howe's bullet shot drives McNeil to the ice. From the side of the net, Ted Lindsay pokes in the loose puck to make the score 2-1 for Detroit. Back for Canadiens. Hard skating Dickie Moore shoots wide. Moore slides a pass to Saint Laurent. The Canadian defenseman drills it wide again. The Canadiens continue to press. The teams change lines as the hectic pace takes its toll, even on the superbly conditioned athletes in the Stanley Cup final. Sid Abel loses to David Saint Laurent. His shot is deflected to the side. Here's the play that cost the Canadiens their fine young defenseman. In a body-checking exchange with Gordie Howe, Saint Laurent suffers a lacerated eyeball and is out for the rest of the series. Doug Harvey returns for Montreal, but his backhand shot is wide. Bob Goldham on the return rush for Detroit tries a long slap shot at Jerry McNeil. Now the game is in the third period. Bob Goldham sets up Ted Lindsay, and the Red Wing left winger forces McNeil to make a fine save. Here's the Rocket at his sensational best, driving around Goldham and White, but his shot slides past the far goal post. Billy Ray, number 14, proving once again that he's one of the game's best stick handlers, gives a clever exhibition. But his pass out is smothered by a sliding Detroit defenseman, Benny White. Detroit leads 2-1. Forward Floyd Curry makes a save with the Montreal net again empty. A wild flurry around the Detroit goal by Geoffrion. Dickie Moore and Richard fails to give the Canadiens the equalizer, and the game ends with Detroit the winners 2-1 and leading the series 2-0.
The Nikon D5000 and its vari-angle LCD lets you capture stunning digital images and HD videos. Look around. Life is beautiful. Everything you've just seen was shot with the Nikon D5000.
It's game on with Delisio. You could win a trip for two to this year's World Junior Championship gold medal game. Go to tsn.ca/Delisio to enter. With its mouth-watering toppings and fresh baked taste, it's not delivery, it's Delisio. Proud sponsor of Hockey Canada.
Come on, people! Make some
as reliable as the people who drive them. Honda, official vehicle of the NHL, and hockey parents everywhere.
Now the series switches to the Detroit Olympia, the home of the Stanley Cup-bound Detroit Red Wings. Leading 2-0 and needing only 2 more victories in a possible 5 games, Detroit is a strong favorite. With Red Story refereeing, the Red Wings are now wearing the white sweaters, and the Canadiens are in the dark uniforms. So far, Gordie Howe hasn't scored a goal in 4 playoff games against Toronto and 2 against Canadiens, but the league's leading scorer is due to break loose. Wearing number 9, Howe turns at center ice and drives in for a long shot. Bert Olmsted has it behind the goal. Howe forces him into a corner. When Howe and Olmsted threaten a fight, everybody gets into the act. Ted Lindsay is neatly sandwiched by the Canadiens' defensemen Butch Bouchard and Bud McPherson. But Howe comes back to score one of the greatest goals of the series, a stick-handling masterpiece. Always a great defensive team, the Red Wings set about the business of defending a 1-goal lead. Johnny Wilson teams up with Metro Christi, and defenseman Doug Harvey saves. It's a hammer and tongs hockey game, end-to-end action, an all-out performance by 2 teams battling for the world's professional hockey championship. The great Richard flies down right wing in his old-time style. He loses control of the puck at the very last moment. And after a goal-mouth pile-up, another fight breaks out. Dickie Moore and Tony Leswick mix it up. Benny White knocks Moore down. Moore throws a punch over the linesman's shoulder. Richard and Leswick are at it again. Moore and Leswick draw minor penalties for roughing. Now the slow motion camera takes us back to that dramatic rush by Richard, who is right in but fails to get the shot away. Hanging on to that 1-goal lead, Terry Sawchuk gives a remarkable exhibition in the Red Wings' net. It's another great game, and a jam-packed Olympia rocks with applause. He scored 47 goals in the regular season, and now Gordie Howe takes command, using a great shift to fool Dickie Moore. An ambidextrous stick handler, Howe retains possession of the puck as long as he can. Marcel Pronovost streaks out of the Detroit zone, one of the fastest rushing defensemen in the game. But Floyd Curry knocks Johnny Wilson out of the play with a hard check. A playmaking defenseman like Doug Harvey of the Canadiens is a tremendous asset to the team. Bert Olmsted misses his pass in the goal mouth. At the other end, Marty Pavlich's wicked shot is caught by Jerry McNeil. The end-to-end action has the Olympia in an uproar. Detroit now holding a 2-goal lead after Ted Lindsay's goal. Bud McPherson and Dickie Moore, 2 great Canadian players of the future, team up to make it hot for Sawchuk in the 3rd period, but Sawchuk is unbeatable. Gordie Howe scores on his blistering backhand shot. His 2nd goal of the night settles the outcome of the game, 3-0 in the Red Wings' favor.
For exceptional kitchen knives, choose the finely crafted, perfectly balanced Kurodori knife set, exclusively at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center. The blades are superior quality German steel, with tapered edges for optimum sharpness and precise cuts. Dimples help prevent binding. NSF approved and unconditionally guaranteed. Choose the exclusive Kurodori knife set.
Only at Home Hardware and Home Hardware Building Center.
Buying the food, planning the menu, managing the staff. It's all on me. Even when I was young, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Culinary school had to be the first step. Very nice, you guys. The international culinary schools at the Art Institutes exposed me to a variety of techniques and cuisines and prepared me for everything that came my way. Beautiful. This is what the Art Institutes did for me. Find out what they can do for you.
We survived the terrain, overcame the climate, and braved the snow. One might say we've been training for this moment for 340 years. The official Vancouver 2010 Canadian Olympic Team Collection from Hudson's Bay Company, only at the Bay and Zellers.
There are millions of mortgages in Canada. If you have one, you have a Manulife One number. Take Mike, for example. Mike and his wife Sarah have a mortgage, line of credit, car loan, and several savings and checking accounts. Simply by combining all their inefficient accounts into the revolutionary Manulife One, Mike calculated they could save $46,980 in interest and own their home years sooner. Discover your Manulife One number today at manulifeone.ca.
The Red Wings are a determined crew as they come on the ice for the fourth game. If they win, they will become the first team to ever win the Stanley Cup in 8 straight games. And if Terry Sawchuk can come up with another shutout, it will give him a total of 4, equaling the playoff record held by Davy Kerr and Frank McCool. Starting this game in an unfamiliar position, center ice, Maurice Richard shows he's a great playmaker by passing out perfectly to Eddie Mazur, who misses a great chance. Detroit takes the lead in the first period. Rookie Alec Del Vecchio passing out to Metro Presti, who gives McNeil no chance in a 10-foot shot to the corner. Richard and Paul Meagher, number 20, team up, but the hard-hitting Detroit defense drives the Canadians forwards into the board. Far behind in this series, the Canadians never give up. Doug Harvey works his way to center ice, falls over Sid Abel's stick, keeps on going. But Leo Reese intercepts the pass. Reese rushes. He drops the pass to Abel, whose shot is wide. Ted Lindsay has an open corner, but his shot is wide. The Canadiens keep driving in, and the game becomes even rougher. Leswick charges Moore, and Dickey responds with a vicious swing of his stick. A great star in this series. Leswick takes the penalty. Butch Bouchard uses his weight to a good advantage. And here is a new danger for goaltenders as the crossbar bangs McNeil. Late in the second period, the Red Wings score their second goal. Glenn Skove converting Pristi's pass out from the corner. In the third period, Canadians fight harder than ever to get back in the game, with Tommy Johnson traveling end to end. Bud McPherson lashes in a screen shot, but Sawchuk saves the game. Canadians attack relentlessly, but Sawchuk is unbeatable. And sensing victory in 4 straight games, the Red Wings defense continues their hard-hitting tactics. Star of this final game was Metro Pristi. And here in a remarkable picture, Pristi scores the Red Wings' third and final goal. Still, the Canadians roar to the attack. Billy Ray combining with Dickie Moore. But once again, Terry Sawchuk is too good, and Sawchuk marks up his 4th shutout in 8 playoff games. He didn't allow a goal in any game played on Detroit ice. Sawchuk is mobbed by his jubilant teammates as the game and the series comes to an end. For the 5th time in their 27 years in the National League, the Detroit Red Wings have won the Stanley Cup. And in 1952, they left no doubt as to their complete superiority. Disappointed that they could not win, but sportsmen to the core, the Montreal Canadiens, congratulate the Red Wings in a center ice demonstration. The president of the National Hockey League, Clarence Campbell, stands beside the Stanley Cup and congratulates the Detroit Red Wings on their record-breaking, undefeated drive to the Stanley Cup. Jim Norris, Tommy Ivan, and Jack Adams take a bow for a good job, well done. And in a spontaneous gesture of appreciation, the Red Wings lift Coach Tommy Ivan high on their shoulders. It goes down in the record books as one of the hardest fought and hardest hitting Stanley Cup finals in history. Superbly conditioned athletes, with a total disregard for the hazards of violent body contact, gave an all-out performance in each and every game, which frequently led to penalties. For this is a high-speed sport, where a crushing body check is not soon forgotten and therefore quickly returned. The Stanley Cup playoff sees the culmination of an intense rivalry between the 6 teams in the National Hockey League that continues game after game through each of 35 home games played by the Chicago Blackhawks, New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, Toronto Maple Leafs, Montreal Canadiens, and the Stanley Cup champion Detroit Red Wings. No sport on earth compares with professional hockey as played in the National League. 60 exciting minutes of sustained speed and action.